Today I'm going to show you how to make this little embroidered felt flower spray. Hi everyone, Sarah here from Sarah Homfray Embroidery with a nice little simple project for you today, some embroidered felt flowers. Dead easy to make, and I've got a template for you. I've got the templates of the petals and the leaves for you to use if you want to have a go at this project with me. These will be on the free stuff page of the website. We always give our designs away for free. The link for that is in the description below this video. You can pop along there, download that, and you've got all the templates to make the project I'm going to show you today. So I'll show you everything that you need as we go along, because these are nice and simple. And the first thing you need to do is to print your templates off, because we're going to cut those out and use them as paper templates. So I'm just going to show you quickly with one I have got here. So this is one for the petals. So you just need to cut that out and make yourself a little template out of it. I'm using paper scissors to cut paper. Don't use your best embroidery scissors. You cut that out as carefully as you can, and we can keep reusing that to cut our petals out. I've got 4 different petal shapes on there, so you can do some different flowers. You can make them small. If you just cut to the inside of the line, you can make them smaller outside, make them a bit bigger. So you can do a lot with these. And all I'm going to do is place that on top of my felt. I'm just going to cut out a rough shape first. If you want to draw around it first, you can draw around it and then just cut out that. Just be aware of if you draw any lines on it, you don't want to see those, so you might want to flip it over when you sew it down, but I'm just going to cut straight around it. So I've got one petal shape, so I'm just using some wool felt. It's part wool, part acrylic, so you get some nice strength in that, but that nice effect of wool. So you don't need very much felt, and I've just got myself a few colours. I've got some pinks for my flowers, and I've got a couple of greens for the leaves. So you don't need many colours to do this. You could do a one colour scheme if you want to. You could do it to match something if you wanted to give it as a present for something, or somebody's favourite colours, perhaps something like that. So I've just got the 3 pinks and the 2 greens. So there's my first petal. I'm just going to cut a few more of those now and make a whole flower, and then I've done 2 already, so I'll show you that in a second, and then I will cut my petals and my leaves, and I'll show you that, and I'll show you how to put them down. So these are the 2 that I have already made. I've got them in different sizes and different colours, and what's lovely about these is you can just stitch them down at the end, and the ends just stick up a little bit and they look really 3-dimensional, and you can overlap things as well, which I think always looks a little bit nicer in your design. I haven't done a specific design, I haven't drawn out a design. You can cut these out, you can place them in position, you can move them around, you can see what you like, and you can come up with your own. What I have done is just drawn around the inside of a hoop. That's a 4-inch ring frame, and I've just put that on my fabric, and I've just drawn around the inside of that, and that just gives me a little guide as to where I want to put my flowers. So you can do it any size you want. You can do it square, you can do it on a cushion, whatever you like. So don't worry too much about doing them exactly the same way that I have done them. Have a little bit of fun playing and moving them around and see what you can come up with. So I'm going to work them on a piece of linen. I like using a natural fabric, so I'm going to use linen. You could use a coloured fabric if you want. Even a patterned one would look quite exciting. So I've just got my linen there. I've got a backing fabric behind it, just got a cotton backing fabric, just makes it a little bit sturdier to stitch on. I've got that in my ring frame, which is held in my versatile table clamps. You only need 1 of these clamps. I've got 2 for the camera. We'll put a link to these in the description below the video if you're interested in these clamps. Really good to have both hands free. And then I'm just going to use a couple more things. I've got some stranded cottons that I'm going to use to do the embroidery on my felt flowers. So you don't need much stuff, so I'm going to show you how to stitch down that 3rd flower. So the first thing I'm going to do is just place them all in position. So as I said, I don't have a set place where they're going. I'm going to try and fit them in around the other one. I've actually cut myself some leaves as well, so I'll put the leaves on. I'm trying to sort of fit them around. It doesn't matter if they overlap a bit. It's quite nice actually if they do. I might just overlap that leaf a little bit there. Not too worried about those leaves at the minute. Something like that. There we go, that's quite nice. And what I recommend you do is to sew it down. We're going to take them off and do them one at a time. So take a picture of it on your phone, or just note down where they go, or pin them in place if you want to, just so you can remember where they went, because it's easier to take them off to stitch them down. So I am going to do that. I know where they go, so I'm going to take them off as they've come on here. And I will just do those once. I'm going to put the leaf on afterwards. I know it's underneath and that seems a little bit odd, but so my petals go there. And I can just in fact mark the centre with a pin. And then I'm just going to start my thread on the top and do my knot, my 2 little stitches. I like to start them that way and that knot will come off. That's a waist knot. Just using 1 strand of a stranded cotton, and I'm using a colour that's going to show up on my felt. Make a nice little detail out of this stitching. And then I'll do this one as it's in. So I'm just come up on the point. Now you can do a few things to hold your petals down. I'm just going to do some straight stitches. I'm going to do quite a long one down into the middle, like so, and then come back to this point here. Just do some off to the side. And on this pink one here, I did a little detached chain stitch, so you can do different stitches to hold it down. I'm just holding it down in the middle and kind of halfway up the petal, so the end's nice and 3D, but the middle is held down. So 3 stitches is enough, and then I can put this one in place, and I can do the same with that one. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see that a bit closer. So you're up right on the point, down into the middle of the petal, and then back up to the point to put those other 2 stitches in. While I'm doing that, I just want to make a quick mention to our super thanks, to thank you very much if you have clicked the super thanks button. It looks like this over here, to show your appreciation, easy for me to say, for a video that you have enjoyed. So thank you if you have clicked that. Your names are going across the bottom of the screen now. And I would also like to say a thank you to our Patreons and our channel members as well for your continued support. More stuff going up for you all the time, so I hope you're enjoying that content. Thank you very much to you too. So I can put these other ones in place, just double check that they all fit. I'm not worried about that little gap in the middle because I've got another thing that I'm going to do in the middle that I'll show you in a second. I've got some little beads to put in the middle. So a little gap in the centre is okay, and I'm just going to stitch all of those down exactly the same way, then we'll put the leaves down. So I've left that thread in place in the middle because I can actually use that to sew down my bead that I'm going to put in the middle. So I'm going to leave that there, and I've started a green thread to put my leaves down with. Now my felt is different colours, I've got 3 different greens in here, but I'm going to use the same colour to stitch them all down with. Just ties everything together a little bit so you haven't got too many different colours going on. Just gives a little bit of cohesion to your piece. So I'm going to kind of pull those petals up a bit and slide my leaf underneath just at that point right down there. And then I'm going to do a little back stitch all the way down the centre. So that's just a forward stitch for your first one. Come up ahead of yourself and go back down in the end of that previous one. And because of the thickness of the felt, it will pull it down quite nicely, and that will make the leaf stand up at the edges a little bit. So it's really lovely material to work with, very forgiving. You haven't got to finish off your edges. You can hide any mistakes quite easily because you don't have to be super precise, but it does look really beautiful. It's a lovely material to work with, and I'm not going to go right to the end of the leaf, I'm just going to go sort of there, and then I can decide if this petal comes over the top of it, which I think it probably will. That leaf will go underneath, that's quite nice. And then I'm just going to stitch a few little veins on it, so just come up on the outside down into the stem at a little bit of an angle, do the one on the other side. They're super simple stitches, you don't need anything really complex to do this, but it's really effective. They look instantly like a little bunch of flowers. So I'm just going to put the other vein in there. I can use that same thread for my other leaves. So petals over the top, and then these ones in place underneath. Put one there, and I think one over there. like so. So I should just stitch those in place the same way. So I actually put another little tiny leaf on there. I thought it needed a little something at the top, so you can just keep adding to it if you want. Get many leaves and as many flowers and as many petals on it as you want. But I'm going to stop there because I just want to show you how to finish the middle. So I thought I'd put some nice beads in the middle. If you don't have beads or sequins, you could do some French knots in the middle. That would look really nice. But I found these lovely things in my collection, so I'm going to put one of these in the middle. So it's kind of like a little sort of sequin with some holes in the side, I suppose. So I'm just going to come up from the outside and down into the hole, put that over the middle like so. I'll go a couple of times because I'm just using one strand of thread. We have a whole video on how to use how to put down beads, so do go and check that one out if you're interested in adding beads to embroidery. They're really beautiful addition to add a little bit of sparkle. So I'm just doing that one twice for that one there, and then I've got a different combination for the others, so I should just move the camera over to those and we'll have a look at those. So for this one I've got a larger sequin, like a little flower shape, and then a little small three-dimensional one that I'm going to put on top, so you can layer these up. It's quite nice to put the several on there, just adds a bit more of a flowery effect. So I'm just going to go right up in the middle with my thread, again a single thread to sew these down, and I'm going to put that one on top. And then to hold that one in place, I'm going to put this tiny little seed bead on it, and you'll see what happens in a moment. So I'm going to put that on as well. So I've threaded on 2 sequins and a little bead, and then I'm going to go back down through both of the sequins and not the bead, and that bead will anchor those in place. If I pull it down slowly, you can see that's made a really lovely centre to my flower. And then I'm going to pop over to here and I'm going to put something different on that one. I've actually doubled my thread up for this one. These are a little bit bigger. It will be a bit stronger. Sometimes you can't always get the thread through, but I think 2 strands will be fine. So I'm going through these large sequin and a nice big one in my stash. And then this lovely little flower one. I just picked these up when I'm shopping out and about. I think, oh, they're pretty. I might need those one day, like today. And then again, to hold that one, I'm going to put that little gold seed bead right in the middle to hold those down. So go through the seed bead. Let's get one to go over the needle. There we go. And then back down those 2 in the middle, and that will hold it in place. And it's as simple as that. And how beautiful do they look? And you can have a lot of fun choosing some beads. You could do a few more stitches on it if you wanted to in between. You could put some on the petals, you could put some beads around the middle. You could do loads of different things with this, but I'm going to leave it at that because I just wanted to show you the principle. But I have got this line around the edge that I drew around my ring frame, so I could place my flowers in position. Now I did that with a water soluble pen, so I could just put a bit of water on and get rid of that line and just have them like that, but I think I might actually make that a feature. It's quite nice in a circle, so I think I'm going to do just a little bit of stitching on that to define a nice edge around my flowers. So I've chosen the green colour that I did the veins with for the leaves, just to again tie in those colours. I think that's a nice colour to go around those. I'm going to do a back stitch around it, and then I think I'm just going to whip around it or weave it. I haven't quite decided yet. See how I feel when I get there. And I'm using 3 strands for this just to make it stand out a little bit more. So just put my knot in my 2 starting stitches. And a little tip for you, if you're doing something that's continuous like a circle, start at the bottom. We don't tend to look at the bottom of things, we tend to look at the middle, and you'll see the top more clearly. So if you want to start something you're not quite sure how it's going to start finish, start it at the bottom and that will hide it a little bit if you're doing a circle. So somewhere not so obvious, basically. The bottom is always a good safe bet. So I'm just going to do that back stitch. So that's the same stitch that I did for the veins down the leaves. And I'm going to try and stick nice and closely to the circle that I've drawn on here, because I drew around the hoop. It should be nice and circular. So I'm just going to take my time to do that nice and neatly and go all the way around the whole shape and back to where I started. So I've been all the way around with my back stitch, and I think I will just whip well, I think I'll weave actually. I'm going to weave around that, just makes it look a little bit nicer. And another little tip for you, if you're doing something round and it's not quite round, this is a really good way of just distracting from that a little bit, because it just gives it a nice wobbly edge. So I'm just going to go underneath that one. I've swapped now to a tapestry needle, so it's got a blunt point so it doesn't dig in, because this is not going through the fabric, it's just going around the stitches. So I'm just going to go back and forth under each of those back stitches, not pulling it too tight. Get this lovely kind of frilly edge to it. Just weave that in and out of those stitches all the way around. Just watch the tension on it. Try and keep that nice and even throughout. And just all the way back again to where I started. Right, and just to finish that off, I'm just going to pretend as if it was going underneath the next one and carrying on. So I'm just going to slide it underneath that stitch and through to the back, and I can just finish that off on the back. And I can cut any of my waist knots off. I'm going to call that done. Let me show you the whole piece. So here is the whole piece all finished, and what you can do with this is you can just pull up the edges of the petals and the leaves a little bit, just make it look a little bit more three-dimensional, bring it back to life. You might have squashed it a bit while you're stitching it, because that's the beauty of this. It does look this wonderful dimensional effect to it. So give it a little revive, bring it back to life a little bit, and that is finished. So don't forget the free PDF of those templates if you want to have a go at these felt flowers. And if you want to have a go at another felt project, you can check out my Green Man felt project up here. And also go and check out my other channel, Sarah Homfray Creates. That's down here. It's a video up now that I need your help with. So do pop over there and see if you can help me.